Equity.Guru, Investor Roundtable, and it's Novamind. What the hell is Novamind? We're going to find out from TK and DeCenna, who's down below, Chris Perry, who's down in the opposing corner, and Vishal Vitura, who is upstairs with me in the suite in the penthouse area of this roundtable. Yeah, I guess somebody's got to do it. But we're going to start with TK. And again, who are these people? And are we shrooming or are we not shrooming?
So this one is an interesting one, and there's not much of an intro you can give, but I'll reference that later when I'm done here. But they're a mental health company in the psychedelic medicine space. Mostly they own a network of clinics and retreats and clinical research sites. As of last year, I think they made $4 million. March, sorry. They made $4 million. And the breakdown for that is service fee of $4 million. And then the clinical trials was like $90,000. And obviously, it's an interesting case where the main line of the business is not the one that's actually, generating most of the sales, but it's pretty common. The thing that strikes me is something I've noticed, and I would love to pick Chris's brain on this one. I'm going to put him on the spot here a little. What is this trend of metal companies and mineral companies getting into psychedelics?
Well, I mean, like it's happened before. We saw cannabis become a thing. The first ever story I wrote about cannabis in the public markets was after a mining company had put out a news release saying it was looking for opportunities in the health, wellness, science, agriculture, mining, technology sectors.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And then I realized that this company had a gold mine, or a dysfunctional gold mine in Flin Flon, Manitoba, where the government used to grow weed in mines. So I put two and two together and said, this is a weed company, and the rest was history. So fast forward, now we're in psychedelics. Okay, so psychedelic use is still illegal, or and cops aren't going out and finding guys with mushrooms in their pocket and putting them in jail. But it's still not something a public company can do in the way that it would love to, which is like, here's a bunch of magic mushrooms, go enjoy. So they're doing this kabuki of saying, we're in the clinical research business, we're in the psychiatry business, we're in the biotech business. And what they're really doing is raising money, and they need a reason to raise the money. They can't raise money and say, when it's legal, we'll sell magic mushrooms. So instead they're doing ketamine clinics. And okay, so here's the deal. If I'm a guy who's honestly in the ketamine clinic business, and I'm spending a lot of money building the greatest clinic network of all mankind, and you go to my front page of my website, and there's a video front and center, it's going to show you an amazing clinic, right? The Novamind website shows a two-person room with some recliners and some LED lights. Like, is that your clinic? What are you spending on that? Is that like a WeWork? Like, honestly, is this a massive multi-million-dollar enterprise, or is it a couple of guys that found a psychiatrist that was willing to play ball? Like, this is not a company for me. This is worth $35 million now when the stock is at its lowest point. It was worth $70 million a few months ago. Wow. And for what? For a WeWork with some LEDs you bought from Alibaba Express? Come on, man. This guy might be a psychiatrist. I don't know. He looks like he's a psychiatrist. He's got a nice shirt. He's got the jeans rolled up at the bottom. But LED lights, for fucking real?
It seems like a psychiatry chain of some sort. And there are no mushrooms because, like you said, it's not legal yet.
They're doing ketamine. Ketamine already exists in the world. There are already psychiatry clinics in the world. Like, why am I going to overspend on market cap to buy psychiatry clinics? Right. If you're coming out and saying, we think there's an opportunity there for a psychiatry roll-up, because a lot of these clinics are one-man shows and they don't know how to do their admin properly and they don't do any marketing, okay, be upfront about that. But if I click on the website and go into Cedar Clinical Research, and they're telling me about how they're doing all these great trials, but the picture is a stock footage image of a girl with a ponytail and some blue rubber gloves, you don't have any research. show me a picture of your research being taken.
That's so true.
It's also it's Toronto based, and all these clinics are in Utah, which
Right. So this tells me that their psychiatrist that's playing ball is based out of Utah.
right.
And they're going to open 8 more clinics. You know what? I'm going to open 8 more clinics too. Larry Charlize Theron.
I think we should mention too. I mean, it's been sort of alluded to, but what they say is they're positioning for the approval of using all that kind of good stuff, and they have here. Sorry.
Who isn't? Like you and me will set up a show company.
Yeah, exactly. Right. 2023, 2025 here. That's the years that they have here on their PowerPoint. And I sort of want to bring up the federal regularization of cannabis in the States, right? Remember we were talking about that. It was supposed to happen a few months ago, but they're sort of still delaying on that on the federal side. So maybe, I'm just bringing that up because shrooms might be in the same boat. It might take longer than people expect.
Mm-hmm. But Utah would be last in my mind. It's like the Mormon state, right? So no alcohol for the most part, caffeine, etc. Like it's a predominant force in that territory. So that makes it even more interesting.
Worse. Chris, do you feel like was you watched the cannabis sector go from a dream to actually something tangible? Do you feel like it's the same thing happening here, where people who missed the cannabis boat are plunging money into this, hoping for the same sort of return over time, kind of thing?
For me, what's going to happen when the shrooms are legal, the weed business goes away. In my limited experience as a fan of both, I can't tell you the last time I used weed. Like the shrooms, there's mushroom dispensaries in Vancouver now, right? The cops are so not looking at this thing that the same guys that were setting up illegal cannabis dispensaries are setting up illegal mushroom dispensaries. And the product is better. The experience is better. It's far more therapeutic. Like it actually does have a place in psychiatry, right? What these guys are talking about doing is going to happen, but it's not going to be the ones that do it, right? We're not going to all take trips to Utah to use mushrooms. When we can go to Third Beach Drum Circle on Friday night, get a guy called watermelon, somebody one for $20. Like
that's so true.
It's already out there. It's already done. So the same thing that happened with cannabis when that business was claiming it was all about patients. Remember that? First couple of years, we're all about patients. Why? Because that was the only legal way to do it. Before that, it was like, we're going to do clinical research and we're going to big doctor education programs. None of it happened. Everyone said they were doing it, but have they done it? When's the last time you heard about clinical trials being done on weed? Everyone was doing it. No one's completed it. 50 people is not clinical trials. 5,000 people is clinical trials. Right? Clinical trials, but it's still illegal in most states. Like it's impossible. So the same thing where in the cannabis world, when the clinics started appearing, if you actually went to the clinics, they were usually a shared office space in Chilliwack with a photocopied sign on the door, and then no one ever there, right? But hey, we have a clinic, and the share price goes up. So Novamind might have the best of intentions, and if that's true, they're screwing it up. If they don't have the best of intentions, if it's just a market play, then the market's already figured it out. It's already taken most of the market cap off. There was a big raise, a big pump, and then a lot of selling that's been going out over the last months. Now, I'm old, my memory's failing, but there's a term for that, I believe. You're familiar with
pump and dump, something like that.
Dump and pump, or look, Novamind may not be a pump and dump. It may just be an unfortunate company found in some terrible optics and market dynamics. But Occam's razor, someone's pumped this hard, and someone
makes sense.
Yep. I should just mention too, like Chris is ahead of the curve. If you guys go on YouTube, you can find his video about shrooms and mushrooms from 2 years ago. He, at the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference, you were giving a talk about shrooms, right? At a conference about commodities. So it shows you how bullish you were.
Well, I like to be ahead of the curve a little bit.
And it's still out on YouTube.
Guys are a bit confused by it all, but look, psychedelics is going to be massive, right? The problem is going to be not that there's not money to be made. It's going to be the same thing with cannabis, where the number of companies trying to make money from it
Right.
vastly outweigh the opportunity. The only people making money on shrooms right now are the market guys and the guys selling them down at Kids Beach. Everybody else is watching their stock chip away downwards because there's no movement on the legality front, right? When it is legal, where it is legal, it's on research, but there's no money in research. Where it's going to be legal is going to be eventually the mental health options. And then suddenly the government will find out that society hasn't fallen because people are suddenly using magic mushrooms, and they'll start to open it up again. And there will be money to be made, but it will be difficult. And the guys that are way up right now on their market cap are not it. The guys that are it are the guys that are doing the actual research, not on does this work or, just setting up clinics, but figuring out what kinds of mushrooms do what dosage does what the side effects might be, how to put them in chocolate so they taste okay, and how to get it through the regulatory passage. The guys that have the dealer's licenses right now are at a different level than the guys that don't. And everybody else that's talking about it is full of shit. If you buy a B&B in Jamaica, you have not set up an international clinic.
All right, there you have it. I don't think we even need to go around the table and talk about whether we're spending my money or not, but because that's Novamind. I don't know if the pot thing will go completely away, Chris, because this definitely does not describe me, but I have plenty of friends and associates over the years that must wake and bake, and that will probably continue as long as.
No, the wake and bake isn't the opportunity in cannabis. I've said since 2014.
Well, I'm just suggesting that they require their daily infusion is what I'm trying to point out.
That's the problem that the entire cannabis sector hasn't figured out yet. It's that the guys who've been wake and baking for the last 20 years have already got their supplier.
Yeah.
They're not going to suddenly go to the government. Right?
That's actually true.
Well, it'll be fun to see what happens.
You want to get to a place where the clinical trials have been done that tell you why cannabis is good for you and what part of it is good for you and what it applies to, because then you can put that element into Wonder Bread, right? We have vitamin D enriched everything because we know vitamin D is good. We could have CBD enriched everything, but we don't know what it does. Right? Yeah. We're still that anecdotal place. I have the most forward-thinking doctor in the world, and he will not prescribe cannabis. Why? First, he doesn't want to take 200 phone calls a day from people looking for a prescription. And two, he doesn't know what to prescribe, what strain for what ailment, what side effects, what it might do to existing therapies. So, they've had 10 years to get that shit together and haven't done it. So is a psychedelic suddenly going to do it in 2? So the money to be made in psychedelics is to get patents of technologies that can deliver it in a way that no one else can, and extractions that can take the good stuff and put it into other elements. It's not about guys that want to get stoned. That market is saturated. They've got plenty of options.
All right. I don't even know if I need to throw a disclaimer out because I'm not sure we actually gave anybody any investment other than to say, holy smokes. And also, let me write this down. Cancel Equity.Guru RV trip to Utah. Okay, got it.
You know what? They call it Novamind. They should call it Nevermind.
All right. Do your own investment research, people out there. And you can, of course, listen to our experts as part of that. But you're on your own when it comes to spending your own dollars. In the meantime, very enjoyable talking about Novamind today. This has been the Equity.Guru Investor Roundtable, and we'll chat at you next time.